Hello there, I'm Peter Story. I teach at Duke University Divinity School, but my home is South Africa. I'll be hosting you through the series, and I'm going to enjoy it with you, because Disciple Bible Study is a rich gift to the church throughout the world. In Africa, much is made of the quality of humanness known as Ubuntu. Essentially, Ubuntu means that my capacity to be truly human is inextricably bound up with yours, that I am a person only because of other persons. This deep awareness of interconnectedness is central to African spirituality, and also to the spirituality of the Old Testament. The book of Ruth offers many riches, but most of all, it's about the fact that we live in relationship with others. Our lives are empty unless they are given to one another in acts of mercy and justice and love. Perhaps the scriptural concept closest to Ubuntu is chesed, an interconnectedness of loving kindness or compassionate fair dealing, not only among people like Ruth and Boaz and Naomi, but with the God whose very nature is chesed. Amy Jill Levine tells us more of this including spirit.
Although often perceived as simple and sentimental, the Book of Ruth is a complex narrative about often difficult relationships and the means by which they are negotiated. Older generation and younger, men and women, poor and rich, foreigner and Israelite. For some readers, Ruth is the model of loyalty and loving kindness. She's a female Abraham who leaves home and family to follow the call of God to an unknown land. Yet other readers find in her story a problematic encouragement to forsake one's own people and an insistence that women cannot find fulfillment apart from having husbands and sons. Less a text that provides answers, the text of Ruth forces us to think about our own identities, our interactions with others, and the means by which we achieve our goals. In Christian Bibles, the book of Ruth is located between the books of Judges and 1 Samuel. There, the narrative locates the story chronologically. Ruth begins in the days when the judges ruled and ends with a reference to David, Ruth's great-grandson, introduced in 1 Samuel. The Jewish canon places Ruth among the Hagiographa. The Hebrew term for this collection is Ketuvim, writings. Thus, while Judaism and Christianity share the same books, the books are ordered differently. The Ketuvim are the third part of the scriptures of Judaism. The first part is the Torah or Pentateuch. The second part of the synagogue's canon is the Nevi'im, the prophets. These books include Joshua, Judges, 1st and 2nd Samuel, and 1st and 2nd Kings, the former prophets, as well as Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel, along with the book of the 12, Amos, Micah, Obadiah, and so forth, the latter prophets. Included in the third part, the Ketuvim, or writings, are Psalms, Proverbs, Job, Daniel, Ezra, Nehemiah, and 1st and 2nd Chronicles, as well as a collection called the Chamesh Megillot, or 5 Scrolls, which includes Ruth, as well as Song of Songs, Lamentations, Ecclesiastes, and Esther. The reason for this special designation is that Jews read the 5 Scrolls in synagogues on specific holidays. Song of Songs on the Sabbath during Pesach, Passover, Lamentations on the 9th of the month of Av, in commemoration of the destruction of the Jerusalem temple, Esther on Purim, and Ecclesiastes on the Sabbath of Sukkot, the Feast of Booths. Ruth is read on Shavuot, the Feast of Weeks. This is one of Israel's 3 pilgrimage festivals. The other 2 are Pesach and Sukkot, when in antiquity Jews would come from Asia, Europe, and Africa to worship in the temple in Jerusalem. Shavuot marks the conclusion of the grain harvest, and it also celebrates the giving of the Torah to Moses on Mount Sinai. Ruth is associated with Shavuot because her story is set during the spring barley harvest, and because her journey mirrors that of Israel's ancestors. She too participated in an exodus from one land and a journey to the place of promise. Finally, the book of Ruth is read on Shavuot because Ruth is David's great-grandmother, and according to Jewish tradition, David was born and died on this holiday. The story of a Moabite widow who leaves her home, pledges loyalty to Israel's God, and finds new fulfillment in Bethlehem, weaves together through plot and vocabulary the themes of chesed, a Hebrew term denoting a combination of exceptional loving kindness and loyalty, of redemption, and of inclusion. Naomi speaks of chesed first in her prayer that God would show kindness to her daughters-in-law. May the Lord deal kindly with you as you have dealt with the dead and with me. And in 2:20, she speaks of Boaz's permitting Ruth's special gleaning privileges as an indication of divine chesed. Blessed be he of the Lord, who has not failed in his kindness to the living or to the dead. In the next chapter, Boaz refers to the greater chesed Ruth displays when she asks him to become her redeemer. Astonishingly, the text associates the greater chesed with a poor, foreign, childless widow. It is to such individuals that divine chesed is traditionally shown. The Hebrew term for redemption, ga'al, and its various derivatives appear 23 times in the short tale. Redemption here is not from sin. It is rather a restoration from social marginalization, economic lack, and personal isolation. For example, Naomi, having lost her husband and her sons, is redeemed through the child of Ruth and Boaz. For this book, redemption is the result of human chesed. The manifestation of chesed and redemption is inclusion, the transformation of lives and land from emptiness to fullness, from hunger and death to food and life. Naomi, her husband Elimelech, and her sons left Bethlehem, the name means house of bread, because of a famine. In Moab, the sons marry local women, but before they have children of their own, they, along with their father, die. Bereft of husband and sons, Naomi is the incarnation of emptiness. As she states to her former neighbors upon her return to Bethlehem, I went away full, and the Lord has brought me back empty. She is so barren that she fails even to acknowledge Ruth's presence beside her. Boaz, although materially wealthy, may also be seen as empty, for he has neither wife nor heir. When at harvest time Boaz redeems Ruth, and with her the property of Naomi's family, he brings to completion the house of Elimelech, even as he begins his own lineage. The text places his son Obed, the father of Jesse, the father of David, not in the line of Ruth's deceased first husband, but in the line of Boaz himself. And with Boaz's discovery of new life with Ruth, Naomi too moves from emptiness to abundance. Returning to Naomi from the threshing floor, Ruth brings with her 6 measures of barley that Boaz had given her. Explaining the gift, she asserts that Boaz insisted, "Do not go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed." Like Boaz, Naomi too obtains a new family through Ruth's chesed, as the women of the town observe, "Your daughter-in-law loves you and is better to you than 7 sons." And they note as well, the son Ruth bore will be for Naomi a restorer of life and a nourisher of your old age. Indeed, it is Naomi who becomes the child's nurse, as the women exclaim, "A son has been born to Naomi." Finally, Ruth finds a new community, a new husband, and a new God, one who gives life. Traditionally, her story has been seen as demonstrating heavenly providence, yet its presence is not made explicit until the last chapter, where we are told that God permits Ruth to conceive. Often mentioned in the dialogue, the divine is ultimately found in the actions and faith of individual characters, for it is upon the characters, and especially upon Ruth, that the text focuses. As Boaz states to her, "All that you have done for your mother-in-law has been fully told to me, and how you left your father and your mother and your native land, and came to a people that you did not know before. May the Lord reward you for your deeds, and may you have a full reward from the Lord, the God of Israel. under whose wings you have come for refuge. That this particular foreigner is both biblical heroine and ancestor of David is extraordinary, given that the Moabites, along with the Ammonites, descended from the incestuous relationship between Lot and his daughters, and that Deuteronomy 23:3 forbids Moabites and Ammonites from being admitted into the congregation of Israel. This extraordinary heroine prompts some scholars to propose that the book of Ruth was written in opposition to the decrees of Ezra and Nehemiah, mandating that the men of the covenant community divorce their foreign wives. Perhaps we might see then in the book of Ruth the chesed, the loving kindness of the biblical writers, who have the generosity of spirit to celebrate the Moabite, the newcomer to the faith, as a role model. The book of Ruth maintains its popularity not simply because it is in the canon. These 85 verses endure because in them we find ourselves. Indeed, this text forces upon us the ultimate questions of human existence. Whom do I exclude because of religion, race, ethnicity? Who is my family? What is my home? Where is my community, and how were they formed? How far must I go to live an authentic life? Are my actions in accord with divine will? What makes me complete?